let it be what it is.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Well, because you want to be right, and then there is all the setup, the meeting with the person. Yeah, that's natural.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're good. Yeah.
All good.
The smell of back to earth is in the air. Yeah. Hello, welcome back to another live on location with Bowen and Mimi. I'd like to first take a moment to just acknowledge that we are on the ancestral unceded lands of the Silks Okanagan people. And today we are here in Vernon with Silmara Emde. And Silmara is originally from Brazil, born and raised, and worked as a graphic designer before moving to Canada in her early 30s to do a bit of adventuring. Ended up in Vancouver for a while, met her husband, went to photography school, had a son. I'm not sure about the order of all that, but we're going to get to it. But 14 years ago, moved to Vernon and with her family, and she's been busy balancing her family life, her artistic pursuits, and recently was also featured at Gallery Vertigo, having an artist exhibition. So thank you very much for having us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. This is nice.
It is nice. It's a great way to spend the afternoon.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I just would love to hear first if we could start back in Brazil, because it's a cold winter day in Vernon. And we were talking about snowshoeing and going up the mountain, but I just would love to spend the first, few moments maybe revisiting your time as a young artist in Brazil.
Yeah, so I grew up in São Paulo, which is a big city. And since a child, I was very creative, imaginative. I like to do things with my hands. So I was very artistic, but nobody in my family really know that. It was not something that I didn't grow up in an artistic family, although I discovered later that, there is lots of creativity going on. But it was something that, oh yeah, Silmara is creative, and then I never thought about being an artist or anything. All I wanted was to play with paper. I loved paper. And
can I ask, what was it that drew you to paper?
I don't know, like I like the labels, I like the colors, I like the texture. I don't know why I used to play that. I was in a bank, but all that I wanted was to collect paper.
Okay, yeah.
I think the paper was more important than the money, so that was my way to play with paper, and play as I was in a bank.
Yeah.
So when I was just about to go to college, I had no idea what I was gonna do. I was totally lost. And then there was one day I remember so well that I was in a group of friends. And in Brazil, you do a test. You choose the college you want, and you do a test for each one. And when you pass, you go to that university. So I was just gonna do business because I didn't know what to do. And then I was talking to some friends, and there was this girl, didn't know her, but she was talking about the course that she had just started, and she was, oh, because we go and do wood stuff, and we go and do this and that. And I said, what is that?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, this is graphic design. And I said, that's what I want.
Amazing.
And then it came to me, and at that moment it was so clear that this is what I want to do. This is the course. I found it. And then I applied for that, and I got into university, and it was fantastic. It was just a new universe to me. I met so many different people. I expand my universe in a way that I had no idea that those things existed, because I grew up in a very simple family. A family, we were very like, we did our stuff, and we were like, happy family.
Yeah.
Doing our little things.
Yeah.
And then that just changed my life, and it was really good. It was really good for me, and I really felt, at the beginning I remember feeling very out of place because everything was so new to me, and there were people there that knew what they were doing. There were people that they were working in the field already. And for me, everything was new, absolutely new. But I graduated and I worked as a graphic designer for 15 years, 20 years, I don't know. I had my own studio, so things were going pretty well. I was um, established as a graphic designer.
Yeah, when you say you
Um,
had your own studio, so you opened your own business as a graphic
It was,
designer, or
yeah, I worked from
Yeah.
home. Didn't
Okay,
have
yeah. You had
a
your own clients,
location.
and
Yeah, but I had my business number and I had clients, and it was pretty awesome. So that gave me the opportunity to come to Canada because I could come and not quit anything. I just could come because I was working from home, so I could work from anywhere.
okay, so the intention was not to just leave Brazil and your
No.
business and to come. It was just to take a break and have a taste of something different.
Yeah, yeah, and I was a little tired of working in the computer. It was graphic design is very creative, but it's always making something for somebody else. Can you do me this logo? Yeah, I can. Can you do me this website? Yes, I can. Can you do it? Yes, I can do anything, but it's always like what the other person wants you to do. So I didn't have much time to do my own things. I would play with things, and um, there was a time that I was making jewelry and things like that. But everything was always very on my spare time, because I used all my creativity, and I didn't have much desire of doing much because I was using creativity at work, and that was great. It was really nice, but I was getting tired. So yeah, then I came to Canada. So yeah.
And
so
you knew you wanted to do that alone as well. You knew this was going to be something you'd ventured on your own.
Yes, I was in a relationship at that time, and I just said, well, I'm going to Canada for a month to study English because that was something that I really wanted to do, to speak English because I didn't. My English was very poor. So I said, yeah, I'm going to Canada for a month, and it was fine. Of course, I came and then I went back to Brazil. I came and I met my husband now, which at the time, it was nothing happened. It was just someone that I met, and then we kept in touch, and I separated from my relationship. Nothing connected, but
Sure.
it's just like things were working out this way. And then I decided to come back to Canada to stay a longer time. And then I came for, I think I stayed 4 months. And I went back to Brazil. And then I came back, and then I decided to, okay, I want to stay for 1 year. And, I still had my business, so I could work and pay my expenses and live here. But the idea was to stay 1 year and do the photography course because I thought, okay. And I was now, and at that point, I was in the relationship with my current husband. And then I thought, okay, I go, but if the relationship doesn't work out or something happen, I want to have something done. I don't want to just go and spend money and time, so I decided to do the photography course because I thought, okay, at least when I come back to Brazil, I have something else. I have, something new to explore. But then I never I never went back.
Right. I'm curious about studying photography then compared to someone who'd be studying photography now. And what do you think the differences would be?
It was not that long ago. So I
Okay.
studied photography 14 years ago.
Mhm.
It was, yeah. So that's when I was in Vancouver. I'm in Vernon for 4 years, and I was in Vancouver for 10 years. Um, yeah, I don't know. When I was at university, we had photography course, and it was all, there was no digital at the time. It was all dark room and all
Right.
that stuff. Um, it was not a big thing for me. I really enjoyed, but I didn't use much that in my profession later. And then when I went to photography school, it was mostly digital. We did have darkroom, but it was mostly digital. So that's what I've been doing in my photography part of, you know, um, I offer photography services.
Right. I did read about the soul searching photography service,
Yeah.
and that really piqued my interest. So maybe you could share a bit about that.
Yeah, so that was a product that I created because I wanted to. I think the aspect that I most enjoy in photography is to connect with people,
Mm.
and I see that there is an aspect of being photographed that it's very tender. You know, it's very vulnerable, and I was exploring that in myself, like doing self portraits, um, and I wanted to do photography for this connection, you know, for this. Um, I wanted to bring up something else rather than just posing, you know, family
Yes.
photos or posed.
So
It's
what
fine,
kind of
but
yeah.
I want to. I want for the person to see something else, you know, like when you look at yourself and you can have a sense of who you are and have kindness towards yourself through that image, because we are so harsh on ourselves, right? We look
Mm.
at a photo of ourselves, they're like, this and that, my nose, my hair, and I could only see beauty in every person that I photographed. I only see beauty, and for me it's a very intimate process because, you know, I take the photos and then I go home and I process the photos, not doing like skin but you know, I spend quite a lot of time dealing with those photos, and I look at that person quite a lot, and I can only see beauty. You know, everyone is so beautiful in different ways. So that's what I wanted to bring a little bit more. You know, I wanted that um, the experience of the photo session was something more profound, more connected to yourself.
Hmm. I'm just wondering how you go about creating such a sense of trust with that person in it. I imagine a short amount of time to really capture the essence and what they might be going through in your images.
I think it's I don't know. I think it's one of my superpowers.
I think you're right. Yes, I totally agree.
Don't know. There is nothing that I do.
Oh, I want to stitch you a cape. And also the way you speak about just seeing beauty and joy in everything. And I think that is something that emanates from you. And when I first met you, I felt that heart connection from you. So I really appreciate that, you know, you inject that into your work.
Yeah.
And it's important to you, and it
Yeah.
adds a lot of meaning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, it's good for me. It's like a, you know, this when you connect to someone, you are also connected to yourself. There is something there
Yeah.
that there is. It's not only the person that is being photographed that, you know, is going for something interesting. It's me too.
Mhm.
So it's a, you know, it's a reflection. We are all kind of reflections of each other, right?
Mhm.
In like in life,
Mhm.
and yeah. So that's why I created that thing, because I wanted to do something more than just
Yeah,
take
more meaningful.
beautiful pictures.
Hmm. Do you have a memorable story about one of the clients that you photographed in that way that you could share? You don't have to use names or anything, but was there
Well,
something that came up that was, you know, an interesting story?
yeah, I had one person that hated the photos. He was one person, like everybody else, really liked the photos. But there was this one woman that she hated, like she just completely disliked it. So
Uh,
it was very interesting to just see, okay, you know, she really disliked the photos, and then going through the process, I understood why she didn't like it, because it was not her. No,
mm,
she was putting a facade. She was putting a mask.
Right.
So she was going through a hard time in her life, and she was trying to uplift herself doing a photo session, and it totally backfired.
In a healing way, if she allowed it, I suppose, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was no, for me it was like, okay, like how do I deal with that? Like, it's it's my work. No, but at the same time, I could not take it personal because I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't know what I could have done different.
Sure, and then I mean, it also could turn into sort of a therapy session with someone, so that
Absolutely.
extends beyond just the contract of the session of the
I
walk
would
and
love
the
to
photo.
do that,
Yeah.
but I don't have the
The
the training.
Sure, yeah.
But I would love to. I thought
Yeah.
about going to some counseling course or something, to expand on that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Hmm. There was another photography essay, I believe, that you did. The Treasures of Identity.
Oh yeah.
That really caught my eye.
Yeah.
As
So
well.
most of my projects are projects that I do because there is something in me that wants to speak. There is something that wants to be seen. And the Treasures of Identity was when I was, I was new to Canada and I was suddenly missing home. But I was missing home in a very interesting way. I was missing, of course, I was missing my country, my language, all those things, but I was missing my stuff.
Yeah.
I was missing things that I had before in my home that I didn't have. And I was very intrigued by the idea that, what are the things that matter? Because I left everything behind, not thinking much about that. I still had those things back in Brazil, but I didn't have them with me. And then I was like, what was that made home? What is home? And what are the things that matter to you? Your sofa, your fridge, your stove, those things, they're important for your comfort, but they don't matter. You can buy new ones. But I was interested in things that were like, this is unique. This means something to me. And so I was interviewing people and people that moved from other places like me, and I was asking them, so what did you bring that mattered to you? And then I was photographing, doing a portrait and photographing the object. And it was just so amazing to have those conversations and see what was the treasure that they brought with them.
Yes.
Something that it would fit in a suitcase that, they
Yeah.
carried with them. And I have a few things, many things in my home that I put in the suitcase and brought every time I go to Brazil. Not anymore because I don't have anything else there. I still go to Brazil every year. My mom's there. I stay with my mom, but
So
I don't-
initially, was there one item or a couple of things that you did bring?
for
What
me,
were- yeah, for you.
there
What
was
were
quite
they?
a few things.
Of course, yeah.
So,
Not just one.
every time I bought this mannequin, by the way.
Oh, that's not a small
People
thing.
cannot see the camera, but yeah, that was from my grandmother's. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
brought many things, dishes, and
Mm.
I don't know, some things
Mm.
they're not important,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know what it's one thing that because I brought so many
Yes,
things.
yes. There was someone named Addie that you
Yeah.
interviewed, and
Mhm.
he brought his grandfather's wool socks,
Yes.
and the way you photographed them draped in that little crate with these little porcelain
yeah, that
figurines of a cat and a dog.
was, yeah.
It was very touching to see that.
Yeah, it was a beautiful project, and it was very healing for me, of course. To share those stories and to see that
Mm-hmm.
everyone had something to tell, something
Yeah.
to share.
Yeah, your words, I wrote them down because I thought it was, I mean, you've just said it, but I'd like to share it again with you, just to have you hear
Yeah,
your
to-
words, which was, the great lesson for me was that all I need to be who I am was always there to begin with, already within myself. These talisman-like objects might bring a sense of comfort, but they can be lost or so easily broken. Empowerment comes when we can let go of things without letting go of ourselves. It's not easy, but photography is there to help us bridge the gap between the need to hold on to the physical objects that ground us and the wish to let go of attachments.
Yeah, because there's so much attachment, right? When you have a life change, there's so many things were attached. Because I discovered that, that was a long process, and doing this project was one way of connect to objects, but also disconnect, right? Because um, there is a point that I realized that I used to make this analogy that moving to a new country, to a new place, to a place that is totally new for you, is like you arrive like naked. You have nothing. You were just like plain, and that's so liberating. But at the same time, it's not easy because we are so used to identify ourselves with all our stuff, right? All our history, the school you went to, the neighborhood you live, the family you come from, your culture, the things you own. And none of those things are us, right? Nothing. This is just like, I don't know, things around us. But what it is that it's you that it doesn't need anything. It doesn't need anything. And that's what I discovered. That was my process of, going back home. Which home? Myself. My heart. And the heart doesn't need anything. It doesn't need any stuff or absolutely nothing. It's just you. So, you come naked to discover that all the power it's already there.
We've just had a light change.
Yeah.
So do we acknowledge that, or do we need to? Okay. So continuing with attachment, as a mother, I have had, and you're a mother, I've been thinking about that a lot. Attachment to family, to children, and how I feel extremely challenged when it comes to that kind of attachment. So can you speak a bit about that and what you've been learning from that process?
Yeah. So when I moved, I didn't have kids, right? I have one son now. He's 8. So leaving my parents behind, which I didn't leave them behind. I just moved further.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how challenging that was to my mom. But now having a child, I see how I see different. And it still is. I say that. I don't suffer for being far from my original family, but it's for sure a pain that I carry. It's not suffering, but it's something that I feel that if my mom was here, if I was there, now raising a small child, there is much more of that. And at the same time, I see that I have my path, my parents have theirs, and everyone is in their own path. We don't need to be close physically to be close in our hearts, right? I'm very close to my parents, but I talk to them once a week and I see them once a year. I would like to have more physical contact, but it doesn't change my relationship. Well, maybe change the relationship in a way that we don't have like family gatherings every so on, and yeah, but and my mom sees that too, and my dad sees that too. So we are all very aware that we do what we have to do, we go where we have to go, and not necessarily we're gonna, be there is the physical distance, but there is no distance in a relationship or love or connection.
So this relationship with the attachment, or just understanding that, you really are free to have your, I'm kind of losing my track. I'm just thinking about your time in Vancouver. And, you've already moved from Brazil to Canada, and now you're in Vancouver, and now you're going to move again to Vernon. So this is my train of thought, is again that letting go is the theme, I suppose. So just having a healthy relationship with this idea of letting go, then you're in Vancouver, and once again, you're letting go of the friends there. You finish the photography school.
Yeah.
You moved to Vernon.
Yeah. I think at that time it was, I knew how to deal with letting go. I think nowadays I'm much more detached and much more flexible and much more aware of what it means. What are the things that, I think I've learned a lot and I've changed a lot. So I was just ready to change.
Yeah.
And then once I was ready, everything came together so easily.
And you're with Curtis in Vancouver, and he was ready too. So you were both.
We're just,
The timing was right.
Yeah, and it was something that we're not planning, we're not thinking. It just. I got married in Vernon 12 years ago.
Okay.
And at that time, I turned to Curtis and said, "We're not moving here ever, okay?"
Right.
He said, no,
never
no.
say never. Yeah.
And then one day I was in Vancouver. We were thinking, like, during the pandemic, like we realized that there is nothing that would hold us in Vancouver. Like, we didn't have family there. I didn't have a job because I was raising a small child. His job was not great. He was not happy. We were paying a lot of money in rent. Like, we quite enjoyed being there. We had friends, and we were in a nice neighborhood. But there was actually nothing holding us there. And then one day I woke up and said, "Why don't we move to Vernon?" This idea came to my mind, and I was talking to myself. No way! And the next day, "Why don't you move to Vernon?" So the idea kept coming to me, and then I told Kurt, "So I'm having this crazy thought. I'm thinking, why don't you move to Vernon?"
Oh yeah.
And then I think 2 months after this thought, we were in Vernon.
It happened. Yeah.
It was so quick. And then we came and we stayed with his dad until we could, because we didn't have jobs, we didn't have anything. We sold most of their stuff, and we put, we got a truck and put everything in the truck, and we came with no
plan.
We're gonna figure out.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure out. So we had this plan of staying with his dad for as long as it took for us to figure out, and that was great. That was awesome, and we did. We stayed there for 10 months.
I wonder
the house.
if that was when I first met you, because you had come to Gallery Vertigo and you were doing a photo exhibition.
That was much before.
Oh, it was much before,
yes.
when you were just visiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would come to Vernon quite often.
Wow.
So here I am in Vernon.
Here you are, and so and once
I
again,
love it.
never say never. You have also transitioned again from photography into more tactile artwork.
Yes,
So
I did.
Is that part of your experiences, spending time at the art center and Gallery Vertigo, or having George now, who's 9, and
he's
playing
just
with
gonna be
him in
9.
art, or how did that shift happen?
I think that was always, it was always a wish. I remember when I was working as a graphic designer, I had this need to work with my hands, and I did do much. And I also was, for many, many years, I was like tired of being in the computer, sitting on the computer all day. And So I wanted to get more working with my hands, but I didn't know much what to do. And working at the art center, I've been working at the art center for 4 years now, gave me the exposure to so many different things. No, I take classes, I see people's work, and I talk to people, artists, and that's when I started to really putting energy in, working with my hands. And when I start putting energy in that, things like, okay, there's so much for me to do. There is, um, some things are just coming out of my hands.
Beautiful. They're everywhere. This room is filled with some of them.
And I love it. It's just a different mindset, different way to work with my body, to put my ideas in place. And for me, it's very, very experimental because I don't really know much what I'm doing. I'm taking courses, I'm learning techniques, but it doesn't matter much to me. I just want to make stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just make stuff. And I play with and have fun and I experiment and I like that. Sometimes I don't even want to learn much. I just want to try. And that's what I do. I've been playing with, trying it, and I feel that there's so much more for me to do.
And it sounds
to
like you
make.
have, yeah, it sounds like you have a good balance now. Like I'm thinking back to when you were a graphic designer in Brazil, and that became work, and you were always working in graphic design. So if you're working at the art center, you could run into that, I suppose, where you're there to work, but you don't have time to play. But it sounds like you're taking courses and you're actually finding that time.
Yeah, now I have the way that my life is structured is, I have part-time jobs, and then I have time with my son, and all that comes with, right? I have to take care of the food, and I have to go do grocery shopping and take care of the kid. And I make sure to take time to make art. So I I made a commitment to myself that I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna, keep. I don't watch TV. I don't do many things that take. I don't use social media. So after dinner, I come to my studio and I play.
Wow. Yeah, that's important to mention, though. You're not doing social media. You're staying off of that so that you do have that time.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
Don't watch TV.
Yeah, no, for all of us, I think that, eats up a lot of time.
Yes,
so
yes.
good for you. You're disciplined in that way for yourself.
I'm trying. I'm putting energy in that.
Yeah.
Because there are other things that I could be doing too, but yeah, I decide that I'm gonna take the time to do it. And it's not a lot of time, it's not every day either, but it's enough that it's creating a momentum, and now I think I can keep going with that. And
well, it's enough time that you were able to put together a body of work that you could exhibit at Gallery Vertigo.
yeah.
So can you share a bit about how that came together?
Yes. So I know I've been playing and making stuff for some time, and I never, I have the imposter syndrome, and I have the this is not good enough. I'm working on that, but I never like, just playing is no big thing. I have this in my mind. And then one day I was at Gallery Vertigo and I was looking around and I see the members wall, and I was just inquiring, how does it work? And then the person who was there, very kind, was explaining, and I said, okay, maybe in 2 years I can do that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one day. And she said, why don't you put your name down? I said, no, I'm not ready. I don't have anything. She said, just put your name down.
Yeah.
She was like,
very encouraging.
and
Well,
then I said, okay. And then I panicked a little bit and just to start making stuff. And
did you have an idea of what you wanted to do, or just again you played with things, your hands made stuff, and all of a sudden you had
No. Yeah, I didn't have any idea. It was very, um, I had a bunch of loose things, and I thought, okay, maybe I should work on a theme, find something, and then it was just creating me stress because it was so much in my mind, so much up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I thought, okay, this is not gonna work. I just need to start
Mm-hmm.
making something.
Yeah.
So then I started painting, and then a few months later, I started seeing a thread between the pieces. I could, there was like a glimpse of, I think there is something here. I think there is my voice here. I don't know how it sounds. I don't know what it is, but I see there is something emerging.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I let go of what should I do, what I'm gonna do, planning, things just start to emerge. And I think it's very, for me, it's still very tender, very vulnerable, very new. This voice that is coming, but I see there is a voice, there is something there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put all the pieces together, like the paintings, the collages, the clay pieces, I could see there's, oh yes, there is something there.
Yes. And one of the paintings, I'm not sure if it's in the shot right now, but we can definitely get it later, is this gorgeous floral painting, and the colors are magnificent. And yeah,
Thank you.
I could lose myself in that painting.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
one
so,
of your bigger works.
yeah, it's very experimental, and there is a lot of layers and things that sometimes do not make sense together. But I think at the end, there is something. Yeah, it's a voice.
It's something. It's beauty.
It's
It's
something.
joy.
Yeah.
And the flowers that you chose to put in there as well. I'm so
They
curious.
chose me. I
They
didn't.
chose you. They just emerged.
They just emerged.
Yes.
Yes.
There's also a house that has some people in it. I love this.
Yeah.
Is it fabric art or?
That's paper.
Oh, it's paper.
Collage, yeah, and that's based on the building that I grew up.
Okay.
Yeah, so there I wanted to, I don't know, do something with that, image of the building that I grew up in São Paulo, and it's very different, but there is lots of elements that it's there.
Yeah. Well, I have been contemplating for myself to find that voice, that artistic voice. So I think this time with you has been really inspiring and healing, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share your stories
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
and share your art. And I hope it's
Yes.
the beginning of more conversations.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for your time.
Thank
and,
you.
Thanks to Bowen behind the camera, and we'll see everyone another time.